It's time for the main event. And
SPD,
what a main event it was.
Bonds had some killer moments in that last segment, by the way. We got some Instagram clips right there. I have a feeling we're gonna have a few more in this one because Bonds gets to talk about MJF.
The best of the best, baby. MJF,
Facts.
Maxwell, Jacob Friedman. He blocked us because
I
you
miss
two
you,
goons were
MJF.
too positive. You know, he hasn't blocked me yet on my personal Twitter, so I must be doing something right.
Yeah.
But man, I'll tell you
got us
what. Look at
blocked.
the star power in this on this screen right here. You can even get rid of the right side and it's crazy star power, but you get 6 of the most talented top stars in the world
It's true.
in a free TV main event. No titles on the line, nothing like that. Just an awesome match. And man, just from the beginning, the optics of it all. There we go, the man right there. But the optics of it all with like Darby in different paint and Sting with his CM Punk face paint was awesome. And then, CM Punk doing his old homage as well. That's just great. It was such a positive moment for those guys and I loved it. And everybody on social loved it. Just absolutely spot on. Awesome.
Badass.
And then MJF, during the match just kept running around in circles around everybody, ran into the crowd,
hilarious.
ran away from CM Punk. He just refused to wrestle CM Punk outright. And it was
gassed him.
It was the funniest
through the stands, through the concessions, and back down. That had me literally laughing out loud because I'm like,
yeah,
who does this? And I don't know if it was planned or not, but man, I thought I'm laughing. I'm like, he is literally running away like a bully chasing someone in school, man. It was so funny, and he played that hand so well the whole match.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, just doing it perfectly because that's the ultimate payoff when CM Punk and MJF are throwing fists back and forth, and that match is the ultimate payoff. Yeah. And MJF did so good at avoiding CM Punk the whole match.
Mm-hmm.
But wow, man, this one, what I think we're seeing a trend, and I'm hoping we're seeing a trend with AEW giving the people what they want for one, but also giving time to matches that deserve it. This one was a 30-minute match. Sometimes we get 15 minutes or less for main events because there's so much packed in a Dynamite. Last week we saw the 60-minute match and 4 matches total. And tonight we saw 5 matches, 4 matches and an absolute ass whooping by Wardlow. But that being said, giving the matches time. And I think as a wrestling fan, us and the other, AEW Nation, I think that giving us less matches and more time is more rewarding in the long run. Watching Dark, to me, it's not rewarding. When you're seeing 2-minute, 1-minute, 3-minute matches, like yes, okay, you're seeing people wrestle that you love to cheer for, but I would rather have a story told. I would rather have a picture painted, not just like, oh, hit your high spots real quick. Live, I guess it'd be different, but I'm all for like this match. Having so much time was so interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Dark needs to be more like its own entity, and like that should be a place where the Factory should be getting a storyline. We should see QT Marshall and those guys kind of running Dark like the Mob, like the Sopranos, and you could have storylines with the Varsity Blondes on there now that they're getting a little more time on Dynamite. That would be different. But let's get some undercard feuds and characters developed.
You're seeing the Gun Club do some of that right now.
Gun Club, and just get some guys like that building actual stories. Sean Spears, he gets credit. He gets a lot of FaceTime on screen on Dynamite, but get him into a feud on Dark where he's actually engaged in matches that matter. Do some stuff with guys that, we talk about it. Very deep roster, a lot of talent. Let's get some feuds that are actually building some stories and make it its own entity. But regardless, I feel like in the main event tonight, we got to see an example of what makes AEW so great. And it's been one of the things that I feel like they've done. They do a lot of things very well, but one of the best things that they do is integrate their veterans with their young talent.
You're right.
And, Jericho was their first world champion. And as a veteran, he set the bar very high with how the veterans should interact with the young talent. he got people over. He made this company have longevity. It wasn't just the Jericho dominating everybody tour.
Right.
He helped build stars. And our current world champion had a little feud with him. I mean, Kenny, the previous world champion had a feud with Jericho. These guys were helped. They gained a lot of their footing in North American wrestling on a big stage because of their interaction with Jericho. And I think, you see Matt Hardy do things where he's elevating younger guys. You're seeing that this is an example where Sting has been teamed up with Darby. The blending of young CM Punk and MJF, this feud is a veteran and a young talent coming together. It's just very smartly executed. And I think AEW deserves a lot of credit for that, because there is a temptation that you could bury some of your own talent at the expense of these bigger stars. And AEW has walked that line very well, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel it, man. I think that they've done a great, like you said, Jericho is a perfect example of this. Like, every stable seems to have like a veteran in it. Like Jurassic Express is one. Team Taz.
Christian,
there's a lot of,
you're right.
All these stables have have a veteran with a young talent that they're trying to make to make better and to help. And we saw this in the background when we were just at All Out. These guys, this isn't just for show. I mean, these people hang out, at the hotels, at the stuff they're doing, and they're picking their brains the whole time.
They're talking to each other over drinks.
They talk to each other and hang out, and they're bonding and learning. I don't think it's, to go back to the last segment for a second, I don't think it's any surprise that Griff Garrison's getting better. Yeah. Because all we hear about is how tight this locker room is, and how great it is. And I think that, Sting being with Darby and CM Punk now being with Darby, like, they know, and this guy's got it, and we got to keep elevating this guy. And I think that part of why Darby's almost grown so much in terms of our opinion is because he can have matches that he can have his style in when they're trios matches, when they're double, like when they're tag team matches. You can have that kind of style.
Yep.
When you're not wrestling singles every week against guys that are bigger than you.
You're right.
You can do that, and it works better. And I think that all of us can agree that we've been hot and cold on Darby at different points throughout Dynamite Download's tenure, but we can all say that we've seen the talent. And I think that Tony finally sees how to present that in a way where we can all appreciate it. And I think that that's awesome for this. And I think that you can see it on the other side. Like, MJF doesn't need any mentors or anything. I don't think that's necessary. But he's got Tully in his corner,
and
man. He's
Sean
got
Spears.
Sean Spears has been around forever, and he's doing that too. And I think that they're so smart with how they're developing these guys and making them grow. And like Sean Spears, even with Wardlow, like Wardlow's not as young as those guys, like age-wise, but he's young in the business. Yep. And Wardlow is gaining so much with Sean Spears. Like, it's
and FTR business, dude. Like,
yeah, I mean,
absolutely
all these guys.
Yeah, and that was my bigger
every
point.
Team.
Yeah, that was my bigger point. And I think that this was a match that was a showcase. And I know there are lots of different things that we could talk about. And I don't mean to hijack the conversation. There's a lot of things that we could talk about when it comes to this match. Yeah. But the thing, as a lifelong wrestling fan, that I was absorbing the most from this was, man, what a showcase of AEW really utilizing that balance of veteran and youth in one match. MJF being a young superstar teamed with FTR, guys who were veterans in this business. And then you just talked about Darby really being presented in the best possible way, being teamed up with a CM Punk, being teamed up with a Sting, allowing Darby to be that wild card, that unpredictable madman who changes everything at the drop of a dime with one move, one reckless, crazy move. And then to have the power of the Stinger in his corner. Sting was unbelievable tonight, launching MJF on his face to the outside. And
I don't know how he doesn't age.
You were geeking out. The Stinger diving off the top to the outside. I mean, unbelievable athleticism from a 63-year-old man. I mean,
I completely agree, and I was trying to explain to my wife. I'm like, how old Sting is? Like, what? Like, unbelievable, and like that sealed the deal for me for Sting to be my top performer. Like, obviously the history that the commentator team did with the Greensboro, North Carolina, which unfortunately I'm missing it by a day. Tomorrow I'm going to Greensboro for Christmas, so I just missed it by a day where I could have gone to Dynamite, but. That's another story, a sad story. But the Stinger, my top performer of the night, hands down. This was a stacked card overall, but I think what he's been willing to do in the ring, outside the ring, and how good he looks. We've seen veterans slow down, but someone where it is in his position right now, is absolutely incredible. And I know you all can agree what he's been doing is absolutely incredible. And this is really unique. This is one of the first times in many months, I think, when all three of us have picked a different top performer. In
very rare occasion. We have more sweeps than we do.
That's true.
Differences like this.
You're right.
Very rare.
Yeah.
And Crayfish, doesn't surprise me picking a heel.
Well, not only a heel, but the heel.
The heel.
And I just felt like he anchored so much of the show tonight.
Good point.
From early on with the promo, pre-match with Wardlow, really taking pressure off the Ward Dog to have a good segment promo before his big match, setting the stage for Wardlow to be irritated and pissed off so that he could go out there and just absolutely massacre the Captain. Salute to you, Captain. Sorry for taking that beating. But MJF rubbing salt in the Wardlow wounds and getting him irritated for his match, then hyping up the main event with his team FTR in a perfectly executed promo, and then his incredible entertainment in the main event that we just talked about, him running laps through the arena to win gas CM Punk and to not fight him like a coward. Just MJF is always on. He's so good at what he does. I miss you, MJF. You salty son of a bitch. You're so great at what you do. I positively promise that you will be everything you say you will be, because, dude, this dude, SPD, he talks it, he walks it. Brother, this man lives it. He drinks that
salted margarita.
He drinks that salty margarita. This dude is the real deal.
Extra salt.
I am truly sometimes in awe of how good he is at what he does. He really makes, you said it earlier, he never makes mistakes. He never makes big flubs. He's so good, so on top of things, so perfectly executed every single time we see him. It is so great to see AEW start to give us more MJF matches. I want to see this guy wrestle more. I want to see more MJF in 2022. He's the real deal, man. Give us more. If that's 2022 will be a great year if this is the trend that we see continue.